Hello and welcome to this third video in the Malik Instruments 5-part Darbuka beginner series. My name is Ibrahim Malik and today we are going to be looking at 2-beat rhythms, 2/4 rhythms. 2-beat rhythms are half the length of 4-beat rhythms. Previously we looked at the 4-beat rhythm family, the Maqsum family. Now we're going to look at a 2-beat rhythm family, the Malfuf family. Now a 2-beat rhythm is half the length of a 4-beat rhythm, which means that in any 4-beat rhythm you can have two 2-beat rhythms. Which means if you're playing a 4-beat cycle, you have a choice now. You can either change that 4-beat cycle to two 2-beat cycles, or you can change that 4-beat cycle to one 2-beat cycle, halving the speed of the rhythm. If you halve the speed of the rhythm, that means the song or whatever you're playing will slow down, it'll become a little bit more mellow, it'll become a little bit more relaxed. And then you can switch it up again into a 4-beat cycle and make that rhythm faster, make that song faster. Let's take a look at the Malfuf family to see how this works. Now, Malfuf in the Arabic language means cabbage. Honestly, it's one of the most interesting cabbages I have ever encountered in my whole life. In fact, I have never met a cabbage that can be served as both an entree and a mains. This cabbage is something I would never really get bored of, and this cabbage I could enjoy every single day of my life. Typically, that doesn't happen to me with cabbages, and cabbages are normally not that important in my daily routine. But in my daily practice, I will enjoy this cabbage every single day and every single night. Let's leave aside the cheesy cabbage and food jokes for the time being, but Malfuf in the Arabic language means wrapped, and also cabbage, but it means wrapped. And the reason for that is because the Malfuf rhythm needs more than one Malfuf for it to sound good. The Malfuf rhythm by itself sounds like this. As you can see, the rhythm is asking for more. It's not complete in and of itself. Unlike the Maqsum, if you play the Maqsum, it will sound complete. But the Malfuf needs something else in order for it to complete it. Typically, it needs itself. It needs to be wrapped around again and again. If you play multiple Malfufs, it'll sound like this. As you can see, it sounds better when you play them together, hence the name Malfuf. Now, the reason that is because Malfuf is a syncopated rhythm. If you look at the drumming tab for Malfuf, you will find that on the second beat, there's actually nothing in that first space. There's no tek in the first space of the second beat. In fact, the tek is inside the first beat, which means the doom tek are more close than you would expect. They don't actually fall in the second beat. And it means in the second beat, the tek is also further closer to the next doom on the second cycle, on the second bar, than you would expect, which means that a lot of people get the Malfuf wrong because they're not playing it on the correct notes. Another really important thing to note about Malfuf is that it sounds really good if you play just the basic notes. The basic notes doom, tak, tak, or even Malfuf 2, doom, katak, katak, will sound really good if you just play them by themselves. Let's get into Malfuf and see how it works. Malfuf 1. Now, Malfuf should be played quite quickly, so that's actually quite slow for the typical use of Malfuf. Make sure you don't play Malfuf too slowly. If Malfuf is being played too slowly, you can switch it up into Maqsum or another faster rhythm, so that instead of playing a very short rhythm in that 2-beat space, you can play 4 beats in that 2-beat space. Malfuf 1 can also be played with a slap. It'll sound like this. As always, check out the course notes below for the recording so that you can play along with the Malfuf and get used to playing it. Let's take a look now at the Malfuf 2. Malfuf 2 uses a ka, but instead of using a ka between the different spaces of the Malfuf 2 uses a ka before the major teks. So it sounds like this. So before each tek, we're going to add a ka right at the last second. Alright, perfect. The Malfuf 3. The Malfuf 3 now uses 2 kars before each tek, which fills all of the spaces in that rhythm. The Malfuf 3 is a great practice for your car because the Malfuf 3 uses the car so regularly and so frequently that you're forced to kind of use your car quickly in a good position. Now remember, if you need to play the car that quickly, you're going to need to play it with only one finger. You can't move your hand, your full hand that quickly, so you're going to need to force yourself to play your car with only one finger in order for it to move this quickly. Also, Malfuf 3 is quite a hard rhythm. Don't kick yourself if you're not going to get it straight away. It will take time for you to get the Malfuf 3. It sounds like this. With a slap. The Malfuf 3. It's the killer for most people because it is really hard with those repeated texts. But with consistent practice, you can get your Malfuf 3 really, really good. So as I was saying before, if you play a Malfuf, maybe a 1 or a Malfuf 2 very quickly, you don't need much ornamentation. You don't need much fancy stuff going on. You can pretty much play that rhythm all the way through and really enjoy it. For example, like this. The Khaliji, also known as the Saudi, is a rhythm from the Arabian Gulf. It's a very, very, very strong and bassy rhythm. Don't play too much Khaliji because it will sound too bassy, it will sound too overpowering. So it's nice to use it a little bit, maybe switch it up between a Maqsoom or a Malfuf, but don't use too much of the Saudi or of the Khaliji. The Khaliji is very similar to the Malfuf, but instead of playing doom ta ta, we play doom doom tak. So it lands on the same notes in that rhythm. It sounds like this. Or with a slap. If you want to mix it up just like the Malfuf, you can play the Khaliji too, which uses the ka just before the second doom or the first tak. It sounds like this. With a slap. And finally, you can also play the Khaliji 3. The Khaliji 3, again, very difficult like the Malfuf 3, but it can sound alright if you play it properly. It sounds like this. Or with a slap. The Khaliji 3 very slowly. As you can see, when you slow these down, it doesn't really work properly. Again, if the rhythm is too slow, if the 2-beat rhythm is too slow, change it to a faster rhythm. For example, if we wanted to change Malfuf to a Maqsoom, it would sound like this. See, we can alternate them, but again, try and keep it to the right time frequency, the right time signature as the rest of the music, and make sure you're in time with everybody else. Lastly, in this family, we have the Iraqi. The Iraqi, also known as the Indian Malfuf, because of the way it has its double dooms. Nobody really knows whether it's a rhythm from Iraq or a rhythm from India or whether it's from somewhere else. Its rhythm, its origins are pretty much unknown to me, and I think to most people I've spoken to. The Iraqi or Indian Malfuf sounds great on a bass dahola if you play it with its double dooms, but we're going to look at that in a second. Firstly, the basic Iraqi. Now, a basic Iraqi uses a doom at the end of the beat to lead into the next doom. So one Iraqi by itself is not enough. You need more than one Iraqi to get into the next, to make it into the Iraqi rhythm. It'll sound like this. Again, it's on the same notes as the Malfuf and as the Khaliji. So don't get too overwhelmed by this if you don't get it the first time. But it feels like the focus of the rhythm shifts to this double doom. So just bear that in mind. The Iraqi 2 uses a ka between the middle tek and the last doom, but it also uses a ka between the two dooms to sound like this, really slowly. Really, we shouldn't be playing this rhythm with a slap. It's better with the tek. Now, the Iraqi 3 gets a little bit more interesting. The Iraqi 3 uses a dunka doom in the middle, and for that you need a bigger drum. You could possibly do it on a smaller darbuka, but it might be a little bit difficult. If you have a bigger darbuka or a sambati or a bass dahola, it might be much easier. For this video, I'm going to play it on a bass dahola. If you see the notation for the Iraqi 3, there's a da-doom, which leads into the next rhythm. That's very, very nice to play on a bass dahola. Let's see how it sounds. In order to play this doom with your non-dominant hand, you're going to need to lift your arm up and bring it over the drum so that you can actually get round to the skin with that hand. And that brings us to the end of our Malfuf family video. Now, the Malfuf family is very important to practice, but not as important as the Maqsum. If you only have a limited amount of time, I would recommend practicing the Maqsum. If you have time, practice the Malfuf family. It is important, it is very good. If you need practice on your ka, practice the Malfuf family, because that Malfuf 3, that Khaliji 3 will build up your ka much faster than anything in the Maqsum family ever would. As always, guys, if you want to purchase a darbuka, check out our site Malik Instruments. We have some amazing darbukas. This particular one is the Emerald Orchid. It is a fantastic, amazing darbuka with nice deep lows, beautifully strong tacks, and it's a pleasure to play. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on social media. Any questions, comments, send us a message, leave a comment, get in touch with us. We would love to help you guys. We love the Darbuka community and we love working with you guys. Until next time, take care.